Well, let's head right to the pits now and get an update on that T-Plus boat. Here's Tony Ventrella.
Thanks, Steve. Standing by with Steve David. They're taping the boat together, pretty much is what's happening here, Steve.
Yeah, our cowling took quite a hit when we got chopped in the first turn, so duct tape to kind of hold in shape, and then we'll be pop riveting some aluminum to hold it basically together. It's real critical because that directs the flow of air into the turbine, and without that turbulence over the engine really cuts down on horsepower.
Does this change your mood at all? You're a little bit uneasy about this riding under some tape? Oh, it's very good tape.
Yes. No, not really. We're going to go out and run as hard as it takes to win this thing, and cowling or no cowling, we're going to be there.
Now, you tried to fit the X-side cowling on your boat, right? And it almost worked.
It almost worked, yeah. Just a little bit of a misfit. What this one is kind of like now is a Kingdom ceiling tile. We just got to hope it sticks. It's not tecton, but it's close to it.
Yeah, you can't play this away. You got to play it on this field right here. Yeah. The boat otherwise running fine, well enough to win?
Boat's running great, and I think even from lane 6, we got a great shot of winning.
Okay, Steve David, thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there you see it. That's what it looks like. Plenty of tape. Let's hope it sticks. Steve, back to you.
All right, they're getting set. Boats are going out now for the last chance heat, and we're going to turn it over to Mike Fitzsimmons.
The Texaco Cup Last Chance Heat is brought to you by a true breakthrough in Texaco technology. New, clean, System 3 gasoline. Seafair thanks Texaco Star Mart in Seattle, Washington, the Pacific Northwest. You're the star wherever we are. This one's for pride. Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, not in this position very often in his entire career, is now going to have to race for pride. A chance to start 15 seconds behind everybody else. That's as good as it gets. International News is in this one, of course, with Mike Jones. Already he's having a little bit of a starting problem out there. Mike Jones with the International News has thus far had a difficult time getting across the start-finish line. He has no points, so this one is his entire day, this last chance heat. Chip Hanauer, as we told you, and Bernie Little are racing for pride this time. It's very, very doubtful that they can win the Texaco Cup out here as much as they'd like to. Their day just hasn't pointed toward victory at all. And Mitch Evans in the Spirit of Lake Chelan, also racing for pride. This boat, although it is Turbo Allison powered and the fastest Turbo Allison powered boat in history, in this V12 1710 cubic inch engine, is still 25 miles an hour slower than the slowest turbine. Some ask sometimes, why, Mitch? Why do you even do it? They have their own set of goals within themselves that they play for each time.
Mike, looking down here at the end of the main straightaway, heading into the turn, we finally find the International News dead in the water. We don't know if Mike Jones is going to get that boat up and running or not. It doesn't appear at this time, but he hasn't popped open the cockpit yet either. So we'll wait and see.
Very possibly could have a start here. It'll be a two-boat start. There's virtually no contest. You're talking about the best prepared turbine hydroplane against the only piston hydroplane. This is a mismatch. This is David and Goliath, and if Mitch should win out here, it would be an absolute miracle. But Mitch is going to drive the devil out of this race boat anyway. An opportunity to race Chip Hanauer head-to-head is something any hydroplane driver would love to do. He's going to give it his best, but his best is going to be very, very difficult to overcome Chip Hanauer. White flag is up. I think they'll give him a start here. The International News appears to be out of the picture. There it is. Green flag goes out, and Mitch puts the throttle down and actually leads the Miss Budweiser across the line for a moment, but now the Budweiser's superior acceleration shows it through the first turn. It is the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer driving literally to stay in this thing and to keep the name Budweiser in front of the crowd for one more opportunity this afternoon in the final heat, albeit way back behind everybody else. Now, he's going to actually drive faster than a lot of folks would think he ought to do, because he just simply has to stay above this slop. And Rick, the bottom line is his speeds will actually be very respectable.
He's got to hold it up, otherwise he's going to beat that boat up pretty bad, so he's going to run pretty quick.
Through the north turn, very interesting that he's going to keep it going as fast as he can, of course, to stay above the slop, but there isn't that much slop out there in turn because there's only a couple of guys out there right now, and they start them rather quickly. Get some crackle out of the engine of the Spirit of Lake Chelan. There's Budweiser across the line. End of lap number 1, commanding lead already. A parade lap, to say the least. Look at the distance he's already got now on the Spirit of Lake Chelan. You can't even see, there she comes entering the picture now. Distance of about 750 feet. Out of the corner goes the Miss Budweiser. Again, keeping the throttle down. Chip has got a very lonely feeling in his gut out there right now because this isn't competition. He doesn't even like to win races like this. This isn't the way it is. He'd like to have 5 or 6 other guys out there who are really challenging him. This has been a day where he basically has to just keep running to keep running. And there's virtually nothing waiting on the other end of the tunnel for him unless a miracle comes, as John suggested. And at this pace, with the way these guys are going, that miracle's not going to come this afternoon. Barring the absolute unforeseen. Bernie Little and his crew gathered around talking about it, but this is purely for pride. This is for the pride of A&B, basically. That's what they're about. Spirit of Lake Chelan. End of lap number 2 now also for Mitch Evans. There again, you see the distance. It's a whale of a distance, almost a half a course length now, as you see the Budweiser coming out of the lower corner, and Mitch is just now setting to enter that same turn as Chip Hanauer's a quarter way down the back chute. Mitch can't beat him under any circumstances unless the Budweiser is crippled, and that's certainly not the case here. The boat is in perfect shape, as Ron Brown told you. It has no problems whatsoever. It's running very, very well. They have just plain had some lousy racing luck today. Just very bad racing luck, and that has taken away the Budweiser's luster, no doubt about that. They had big hopes of making this boat the 25 winner. The only boat to ever have the opportunity to do that. Bill Muncie's Blue Blaster Atlas Van Lines has 24 wins, so does this boat. Checkered flag out for Chip Hanauer. Yeah, he's the winner, but it's no big deal. Unfortunately for Chip, that's, yeah, rah, big deal. Look at Bernie. He's not even accelerating. If this were the final heat, Bernie would be leaping up and down like a cheerleader. This is just kind of routine and half an embarrassment, actually, to him to have to take the least capable race boat out here from the standpoint of competitive stature and beat him this way. That's not the way he likes to get it. This is sort of a bad afternoon, a bad dream for Bernie Little also, but they're going to go ahead and take him any way they can because that's an adage in boat racing as well. And as they get into the final heat, of course, they can move up and finish in the money, and certainly Chip is going to be trying to pick off as many guys as he can, even 15 seconds back. You don't like to look at this boat in your mirrors coming on strong.
One thing that does seem to be happening out here, though, that wind that was coming out of the north has died down slightly, and we are getting a little calmer water, so it adds a little more drama to that final heat.
It does, but I don't think when Chip comes back in again, of course, and when we chat with him, that he's going to be all that excited about having beaten the Spirit of Lake Chelan. In the meantime, Mitch went out for a good ride, and he kept some good boat speed up and looked very strong out there, but this boat on its best day is the fastest piston boat, but it's 25 miles an hour slower than the slowest turbine. It's just not there for the Spirit of Lake Chelan. Okay, not much celebration there. Pretty much business as usual as Chip gets out of the race boat. And, you know, he's not feeling all that well. He's been through a devilish week. His back is not completely healed from his accident in Detroit. He has beaten himself up a little bit further this week, driving faster just to avoid getting pounded around in the waves. And he's talking to Bernie, but you notice there's no smile there. There's no excitement there at all. This victory was just a must-do and pretty much a breezy-do as well. But nevertheless, a victory is a victory. You just take them any way you can get them.
Now on to the pain of that 15-second delayed start in the final heat.
There we go. Let's go downstairs now to Tony Ventrella with Chip Hanauer. Tony?
Thanks, guys. Standing by with Chip. Now, whole different circumstances now. Circumstances that you have really never been involved with before. This 15-second delay deal. My. Talk about coming from behind.
Yeah, this is something I've never done before, so I have to be safe. You know, trying to charge up through there behind everybody could be kind of dangerous. So my first priority is just stay safe.
Okay. All right. Good luck, Chip.
Okay.
All right. It's been a wild day, I'll tell you. Maybe a little bit.
You know, you hear the stress and strain in Chip's voice, but also he has some polyps on his vocal cords. He's going to have surgery, we're told, this fall to take care of that situation. It really stresses his voice badly, but his fatigue as well as his disappointment is also read in that same sound. There's not very much pump in Chip Hanauer's voice, unfortunately, and this is just not a day in which he could possibly feel any better about things. It's just been a rotten week for Budweiser.
Oh, it has. Mike, I told you this yesterday, but I arrived after doing the Seahawk game on Friday night. I arrived back here early yesterday and went down to the pits and, of course, knew about Chip's flip on Friday morning, and he was sitting in a chair down there in the pits by himself, and I walked over and I sat down next to him and I said, "How you feeling?" And he said, "You know, Steve, I'm just tired." He said, "I feel okay when I get in the boat, and of course the competitive juices flow, but he says, I'm really tired, and it's tough to stay excited and keep himself up, and especially on a day like this when everything in the world is going wrong."
Yeah, and he said that very same thing this morning. He feels okay, but I said, "You know, how you doing?" He says, "I'm okay." Is he just okay? He says, yeah, just okay. Last Chance Heat was brought to you by a true breakthrough in Texaco technology. New, clean System 3 gasoline.
Well, that's it. The next time the boats hit the water, it's going to be for all the marbles. It's going to be for the Texaco Cup. The big day of racing is coming to a close, and we've got the culmination of it for you in just a couple of minutes. Stand by as we continue with more from Lake Washington. And we are back, and let's go to the presentation stage now for the Last Chance presentation for the award winner.
Your Executive Committee, I'm pleased to present to you Mr. Bob Duggar of Texaco Star Marts, who will be presenting the Last Chance Award of 1994.
Thank you, Caroline. We at Texaco are proud to be a sponsor of the hydroplane races and be a part of the Seafair. And I would like to present to Joan and John, who are accepting on behalf of Chip Hanauer, the Last Chance Award. And also, we'd like for you to take some Seafair hats back to the crew.
Thank you very much, and thank Texaco for the great job.
All right, Chip Hanauer, the driver who would normally be there to accept the award, obviously has some other concerns on his mind, like getting ready mentally for this, the final heat. Let's take a look at the lane draw, John Walters, with the Tide boat inside, and there, as you see, Performance Mortgage, Sunset Chevrolet, Dave Vilwalk, he got his choice, and he took lane 2.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real surprise there. The number 2 lane on this Ted Jones racecourse here has certainly been the fastest all day. With 1,000-foot turns, it gives you just enough radius in lane number 2 to drive in there, back off the pedal any at all, and still be able to hold your lane. Though, as far as they go, both Joe and the tech side have shown extreme good acceleration and very good top end. And in order for the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet to be able to take advantage of that number 2 lane choice, they have to get there first.
Scotty Pierce in the KMPS pit stop is going to be in lane 5. The Miss T Plus, and again, they had some problems a little earlier. They have taped it up, a couple of rivets in place, and Steve David and company are going to go racing in lane 6, and then the Budweiser, the trailer, and again, explain what the trailer boat means.
Well, what happens there is that he technically is starting the final heat, but because the race course is really only certified and surveyed for 6 boats, the 7th boat ends up having to start 15 seconds behind the lead boat, so everyone else will be lined up in the front row, and Chip in the Budweiser will be back 15 seconds, which as fast as these boats are going, when you're running laps, you know, in 1 minute, in 60 seconds, 15 seconds is a big deficit.
And he will be able to race, but he'll have to be back there, and as he said, the first consideration for him is to stay safe at this point, keep that boat in one piece. There's no point in getting caught up in soup behind 6 boats, just trying to finish maybe 5th.
Yeah, it has to be. There are so many boats up on the front line that are going so fast. Their number 1 concern is taking care of business in the front line and watching the guys that are on the right of them, the guys that are on the left of them, and keeping their boat in good, clean water to run in. They have no idea where Chip's at that point in time. There's so much water in the air, and they're so far ahead of him at 15 seconds. He's not even a reflection in their rearview mirror at that point in time. So other than radio contact, they won't have any idea where he's at. So in their safety as well as Chip's, he's going to have to pick his lane, pick and choose, let things get sorted out a little bit, make sure there's no problem in the first turn here. And as many boats as we've got getting there at the same time and as fast and as quick as these guys are, you know, anything can happen in the first turn. So we could have some boats bump into one or whatever. And then Chip looks back on all that, or as he's back there looking ahead, it gives him the opportunity to dive inside or go outside or run the best possible choice of lanes for himself.
Well, while John's been talking about what is going through the mind of the Budweiser team, and of course Chip Hanauer, you've been watching. Take a look, the Chinook helicopter demonstration from the Special Forces Detachment 142 of the 214th Aviation Regiment. The CH-47 Chinook helicopter, and a terrific demonstration it is. In fact, there's also a Huey out here too, a UH-1 Huey helicopter. Sorry to all you folks out there who know exactly all the definitions and terms about these helicopters. At any rate, a wonderful demonstration going on here. This, let's see if this is the right information here. The Alpha Company, the 124 RCOM, I'm told right now. I was given a different page of information, so I'm not going to see any more. I'm just going to let you watch the helicopter demonstration, because that much I'm sure of. In the meantime, we're getting set up for the final heat. And it's going to be quite a race. Boats are on the slings now, and some of them are being lowered into the water from here in the pits while the helicopter demonstration is still going on. Let's go back to Mike Fitzsimmons and Rick Carell at the start-finish tower.
As we take a look at these helicopters, we're reminded that it's out of these very birds that the engines that are in these hydroplanes come from. These are the Lycoming power plants that the hydroplanes utilize, and obviously this is what they were originally intended for. They are aircraft engines, as has been the dominant type of engine for hydroplane racing since Second World War. You know, the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet American Dream has never gotten into and completed a final heat this year. They got into several, but they didn't. At the Gold Cup, they had a great shot after winning 3 straight heats that day. They got into the final heat, and the X-Side took them out at the score-up at the start and put them out of business. And they've had that kind of a year. When they get the final heat, something happens and robs them of an opportunity to perform there. So they've got their fingers crossed. They have never had a lot of depth of equipment, and they're no doubt have a lot of butterflies, all the crew members in their stomach, and so does Dave right now, because that particular race boat has never been able to complete a final heat. And as they get things buttoned down and ready to go on that red, white, and blue Charger, these guys have got to be thinking the impossible. Fred Leland also has never won a major unlimited hydroplane race. His team has never won a major unlimited hydroplane race. It could very well be that the little boat that could might turn the Ted Jones course into the Cinderella territory this afternoon, and that's exactly what these guys are hoping for, but they're going to have to overcome a lot of tough company to make it happen. Not the least of which of these guys with the T+, they're working to get it done now. I think it was a little overly confident on the part of Steve David to suggest that they're going to try to draw the rest of them through the first turn from lane 6. I don't think so, Rick, that that's going to happen.
It'd be a very nice show if he could, but I've got to think that it's going to be pretty wide out there.
But from the 3-lane, this boat is going to be real tough. They put up a combination on this race boat, and they intend to go very fast in that first heat, or that first lap of the final heat. So this is going to be an extremely exciting final, even though the Budweiser isn't a major factor. We'll be right back. The final heat is getting ever closer.
Take a look at the clouds looming over Lake Washington. That means it's not quite as hot today, but it is breezy. The boats are going in the water. The final heat is coming up for the Texaco Cup. Mike Fitzsimmons and Rick Carell are standing by at the start-finish line. John Walters with me up here above the pits, and it is shaping up to be one heck of a final race, Mike.
Yes, sir, it surely is, and this man should be one of the major factors in this one. This is Mark Tate. He would dearly love to win here. He was the guy that went upside down and flew in a frightening crash last year in the final heat, but he does not have the Budweiser to contend with this time. She's way back as the trailer boat. The Texaco Cup final heat is brought to you by Clean System 3 gasoline from Texaco, an advanced system of engine cleaning that works over time for higher performance, lower emissions, and improved mileage. Seafair wants to thank Texaco for their participation in the 1994 Texaco Cup at Seafair. These guys are the guys who were the bad luck Charlies all day. In Heat 1A, they finished 5th. Had a rough time of it. In the next draw out, they had an opportunity to go against the Smokin' Joes in 2A. They finished 5th again. No lane change opportunities at all. In Heat 3A, the Budweiser, or Heat rather, 3A, the Miss Budweiser was not a real factor in it at all. 3B it was, finished 3rd. And then in the last chance, even though they were able to win it, it really didn't matter very much. They just got enough points to start this final heat as the trailer boat. Let's take a look at the boats that we've got now. Here's the way they stack up. The Tide on the inside. They've run well on the inside, and they're going to put a good combination on it for the final heat and try to get as much speed as possible. This is your sleeper boat this time. They are in a good position to take advantage of any kind of a situation that might go wrong. Nate Brown loves to drive the inside lane. Even if it's tight, it is tight, and he's going to have his hands full in that first turn. Dave Vilwalk, the little boat that could. 3 up, 3 down, 3 perfect victories for this, the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet American Dream. These guys are having the afternoon of their life. Fred Leland's the owner of the race boat. He's never had one of his boats win let alone on Lake Washington. Dave Villwock's been a winner before. In fact, his first time out in San Diego a few years ago, but that's the only time. He'd love to do it here. Smokin' Joe's. This boat has a lot to finish up here, an unwritten, if you will, chapter to conclude on Lake Washington last year. They were leading the final heat, ready to go with the victory with the Winston Eagle when the boat went upside down, and Mark Tate wound up out of the race. This time, they've got a great shot starting from lane 3. In the 4 lane of Miss Exide, we've not seen this boat run as well as it is running here on Lake Washington this afternoon. Mark has had a great day in this race boat. She has shown exceptional speed, good handling. Even though she's been a little bit on the wild side, Mark in the 4 lane has an opportunity in this final heat to upset things. There's your spoiler. I don't think this is going to be Scott Pierce's day. His boat is really not up to running with the rest of these guys if they're running strong, but he's done very, very well in the short time that they put this 3-wing on the water since Tri-Cities last weekend. The fellows who run this Compass Presents the Miss Burian pit stop have done some marvelous things. And, of course, that has to do with the fact that the guy behind the whole thing, his name is Jones. Yep, Ron Jones, Jr. They could surprise us, but it would be a surprise. The T Plus is in the 6 lane. That's a good place for it to run because it carries a lot of boat speed, but this has not been a lucky day for Steve David. These guys have had to work very hard just to stay in the hunt here, and they are the outside boat on the front end line, if you will, and they're going to have to struggle to pull these guys through the first corner. They have not demonstrated that they've got the boat speed to do the job. Look for these guys to slip back in the pack, I think, after the first lap or so. And then there's Chip Hanauer, 15 seconds behind everybody else at the start-finish line. A very unfamiliar position for this boat. Very unfamiliar position for the fans. They're already resigned to the fact that this will not be Chip Hanauer's afternoon, barring an unforeseen miracle, and it would have to be a real doozy of a miracle.
Dave Villwock went into the final last week at Pasco and took the right sponson off of that boat. Each time he's got this far, he's been plagued. So we'll see today, especially going head-to-head with Mark Tate, what it'll come out to be.
And there's some question as well. Villwock has been known to get into situations like this, and he's been accused of being a pretty wild driver when it gets down to this kind of thing, when the traffic is real fast and furious and the pace is right up at the very top. Dave has been known to be cited for a few bad maneuvers. I think that that's one of the things that the other drivers are going to be concerned about. Dave, on the other hand, doesn't think he's ever done anything like that to be worried about, but others have worried about him. And he is going to obviously try to drive as cleanly as possible. So far today, you can't argue with the way this man has driven. He has driven way above anybody's expectation of him today.
He's done a real good job, and the crew's done an excellent job of preparing the boat for him. And obviously, Dave couldn't have done it had it not been for the horsepower that Brian Piziak's put behind him and the effort that Fred Leland and all the guys have done. I think the boat really to watch here in the final is going to be Smokin' Joe's. I think earlier you heard Mark Tate complaining that, you know, the way the starts have been going, that the guys on the outside have had a real advantage because they've been able to, you know, creep up there with a little more boat speed than technically they're able to do. But him being out there in the number 3 lane like that, he's going to be in a position to where, you know, he can squash the throttle a little bit sooner and maybe give himself a little bit of a head start in advance. And I know that myself and everybody here, and you look out there at all these people, everybody's going to have their eyes open for what's going to happen here in the final just a few minutes away.
And another dimension about the whole thing, gentlemen, is that we've been looking at 3 lappers throughout the afternoon. No longer. We're going to look at 5 this time, and so attrition can be a factor here. We've got to go 2 additional laps, so you're going to have the stamina as well as the speed. Look at the concentration on Mark Tate. He's got to be thinking about last year. He's got to be thinking about the fact that he had it on the bag here, and it all of a sudden was lost when this boat went upside down. He's got to be thinking about the fact that the wind in that back chute was a factor. It's back again this year, but not as well, not as strong as it was a year ago. He's got to be thinking about the fact that he's in the middle of the pack there in the 3 lane, and he's got to be able to get good visibility to the tower to see that flag drop if he's going to get the jump. Can't obviously depend upon radio warning from his crew. Each time that he did that, he was a little late at the start. He's got to be thinking about the fact that there's 2 or 3 new drivers out here with new equipment that hasn't always performed real well. This guy, for example, spun into the infield. He's going to be outside of Mark Tate, just outside of him, and if he happens to have some control problems into the first corner, all hell could break loose down there. He's got to be thinking about a lot of things, this Mark Tate.
One of the things I'll guarantee he's thinking about is that his, you know, primary competitor out here is Chip Hanauer. He's going to have a 15-second advantage over him. So as tough as things are, that will definitely ease the pressure on him a little bit, but I'll guarantee he's not going to let up any.
The good news is Chip's back there. The bad news is that American Dream has run at the same speeds or better speeds in many of its laps than he has all day. So they're capable of staying with him, too.
Yeah, this is the exact kind of boat race that the new commissioner, Bill Donor, has been, pumping the media with all year long. And finally, we've gotten here. Unfortunately, it's taken a long time to get to this point, and unfortunately, it's taken some real bad luck on Bernie Little and the Miss Budweiser team's part. But I think you're going to see a whale of a boat race here.
Yeah, in order for other boats to win, the usual scenario has been it had to be at the expense of the Miss Budweiser. Something had to happen to them. Well, something did happen to them, but it was racing luck, not horsepower, that happened to them. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't something that took the boat out. It was racing luck, and everybody has to contend with good old racing luck. And the Budweiser, unfortunately, came out on the short end of the stick this time.
So far, Mike, all the bad racing luck today has gone in the direction of the Budweiser. I wonder if it's somebody else's turn to get a little taste of that bad racing luck here. Everybody else has been pretty much blessed. You look at Smokin' Joe's and the American Dream Team, Bill Walk's group over there. They've just sort of been able to dance through this thing for the most part today. And again, I can't help but believe that Mark Tate doesn't, somewhere in the back of his mind, have filed away what happened to him a year ago. I guarantee you that all those folks out in the log boom and watching on TV right now remember exactly what happened and where it was on this course.
Yep. Look at there. There's a tape job. Boy, my school teachers wouldn't have let me turn one in like that, I'll tell you. But that's all they've got. It's the only cow they've got for this boat. As John mentioned, if they can't keep the water out of this one, they'll have a real bad problem and real hurry out there. They got up on plane all right, it looks like, and they're able to break loose. So at least that much is taken care of. We've got a lot of traffic out on this Lake Washington right now. We've got a real busy time coming up here. This is the final heat. This is for all the marbles. Weather and water conditions have cooperated. We've held off the possibility of a storm, even though storm clouds are gathering over the Ted Jones race course right now as the fastest boats in the world, some of them in a little less strategic condition than they'd like to be, are all out here. This will not be the storybook final, however, because they're just not all out on the front line. The biggest problem is the Budweiser is here but missing from the front line. It's going to be very, very difficult for the Bud to be able to overcome this field. But watch Chip Hanauer pick off as many of these guys as he possibly can. You got to know that's what he intends to do and get himself into a position to at least finish in the money and finish with some honor.
And the one thing is they know he's back there, and they know he's coming.
Scott Pierce, his race boat loosened up a little bit, jumping over some ground swells right now as he rolls that pit stop boat through the lower corner. Everybody looking at each other through the mirrors and through the windscreens, wondering how this one's going to come out. The inside lane is going to belong to the Tide. They have chosen inside lane whenever they could get it. And all year long they have. The outside lane on the front line will belong to this boat, the T+. And this boat needs to carry lots of boat speed into the corner, so that's probably not a bad choice for them, although I just don't think they're up to the horsepower going to be necessary to win this race. And so we'll see. Anything can happen, of course, as we've already seen, and it does. The only thing that you can say for certain in unlimited hydroplane racing is that you can say nothing for certain.
I think Ted Jones was the one that said, I wouldn't bet on a boat race if I owned every boat in the race.
That's for sure. All right, they're starting to bunch up and hunt for each other. There's going to be a little bit of head game in here. To some extent or another, the boats that have the disadvantages are going to want the water as rough as possible, so the guys who have the advantages have to contend with a lot more than they expected to do. That will be part of the game. But the question will be whether or not they can bunch these guys together, get them in order fast enough to get a start before they whip this water into a froth.
Even though they started out here with what I think was probably the best water conditions of the day, with the adrenaline and everything that's going on here, I expect there's going to be 2 or 3 aborted starts, and it's going to be a jacuzzi out there by the time they drop the green flag.
It will be a froth. It certainly will look like a shark feeding frenzy out there in the water, particularly in the south corner there where they got to go rocketing into. And again, they don't go into it at the highest possible speeds, which means that maneuverability and control is always a little difficult. We've already seen that. We've had a buoy taken out down there. We've had boats leap out of lane. We've had all kinds of incidents like that already this afternoon. The water gets like that. That's the way the boats get. They get out of attitude. All right, look at that Budweiser trailing back behind everybody else. A sight that you just can't believe. It's almost impossible to accept that the Budweiser is the trailer boat, but it is. The rest of the boats are arcing very nicely. And I think they're going to be very anxious to get this thing going as quickly as possible on the tower here. Let's see what happens. Budweiser is going to try to compress as much as legally possible. We're looking at the white flag flying. They're all coming down to the line. They have a pretty decent line at this moment. Let's see if they give them the green and let them go. They do. They're off and going. The race is underway. The Texaco Cup 1994 and the Smokin' Joe's. And the Exide with great power in the 4 lane is moving down into the lower corner with its nose out front. Mark Evans in the X side. Inside, the American Dream is really slamming through that corner also. We got boats going through that corner so far clean. Let's see what we got. We got X side and the American Dream side by side off the first turn. X side and American Dream. In third place is the Smokin' Joe's, the Tide. In fourth place, they are really crowding down that back chute.
Dave Villwalk is really the one that's got the premier position right here, as he's right with the guys as they're moving down the back straightaway. He still has the inside lane. Mark gets the boat really loose as the skid pin unhooks, and he gets bounces out a couple of lanes there, but Villwalk's right there, and the Tide's on the inside.
Oh, we've got a great boat race going here, and who would have expected Mark to be on the front line in the final heat there? He hasn't been doing that all year. Dave Villwalk takes lap number 1 out front. In the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet American Dream. Second place, X-Side. Third place, it is the Tide. Fourth place, it is the T-Plus. Somewhere in there, of course, oh, there he is. In third place, actually battling for third, it is the Smokin' Joe's. He's still in that battle over there. He's not out of it by any stretch.
He's back here, he's in the 6th position, coming just through the turn right there.
There he
just
is,
inside
yes.
of Scott Pierce, yeah.
Yes, now we do see him. Okay, for a moment there.
We will have that head-to-head race with Chip Hanover,
He
I'm
will,
afraid.
but not where he wanted to be at all. For some reason, the Smokin' Joe's just doesn't look competitive right now. But look at this. Pulling away in this final heat. It's the American Dream. Pulling away is Dave Villwalk.
Oh, it's
slamming
really
through
rough.
that north corner.
Big bounces.
Driving the race of his life. Fred Leland on the dock. Can't believe his boat is winning out here in Seattle. The end of lap number 2, Dave Villwalk is pulling away. It is the X-Side in second place, but some distance back. The Tide in third, some distance back. It is the T-Plus in fourth, some distance back. It is the Smokin' Joe's, unable to give chase. And even the Miss Budweiser is being challenged now by the pit stop boat for last place. The challenge continues. And up the back chute, it is Dave Villwalk in the American Dream, the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet American Dream, commanding this boat race out here.
Yeah, Dave's starting to stretch it out now a little bit as they go down the back straightaway heading towards the bridge there. The wind really does not appear to be much of a factor, but the rough water certainly is. The boat just pounding up on the recovery areas as it comes through the upper turn there. Dave's got on the canards a little bit, trying to free the thing up to help it step over some of those bumps and help it to accelerate off the exit pin as he comes down the front straightaway.
And we're in lap 3, and you got to know now, with 2 more to go, Dave is starting to listen for the gremlins. This boat has no depth as far as equipment is concerned. Can he hold on for 2 more laps? That's the question he's asking himself. I don't know whether I can do that. I haven't done it all season long. Mark Evans in the Miss X-Side in second place, there to take advantage if anything happens to the Dream. The Tide in third place, the T-Plus in fourth. The Smokin' Joe's way back. What happened to the Joe's? Who knows? But Chip Hanauer is coming after him right now. Chip Hanauer would like to still beat Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe's if he could, even if it's for 4th or 5th place. Up the back chute on lap number 4. It is the American Dream. This guy is driving the race of his life, Rick.
This is a tremendous ride for him, and with Evans coming up behind him, he's got a strong ride going. It's actually flattened out quite nicely in that north turn right now. He came around real clean.
He gets the white flag. 1 more lap to go, and Dave Villwalk will make history for the American Dream team, for Fred Leland, and for this Seattle-based boat that just hasn't got enough money to do the distance. Here's some compressor stall on the part of the American Dream right there. That might be something. That might be something. Let's see what happens. He's down in the lower corner for the last time. Oh, and the T-Plus is just crazy wild at the start-finish line. Chip Hanauer still chasing the Smokin' Joe's for 5th and 6th, but it's too much distance. Still too much distance. Half a course to go for Dave Villwalk. And the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet American Dream is going to win. And it will be Fred Leland's first victory. It'll be only the second one for Dave Villwalk. It'll be this team's very first victory. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be Fred Leland's team winning this race. The guy you used to laugh at better not laugh anymore. Mark Evans is giving chase on the inside. He's making a shot. He's going to take a shot at it. The checkered flag is out. Who's going to be? It will be the American Dream winning the race with Mark Evans in the X-Side second.
What a finish.
Oh, my.
Third place, the Tide.
Oh, you can see as you know, time went on there, he kept moving farther and farther out.
Look at the Budweiser has overtaken the Smokin' Joe's. Chip Hanauer keeps his honor, and still Mark Tate has not beaten Chip Hanauer head-to-head. Chip Hanauer in the Budweiser finishes ahead of the Smokin' Joe's.
Well, they took what was given them there, and they really weren't given very much. It's amazing that they were able to come back and you know, fill into the final field like this at all, let alone to pass the Smokin' Joe's.
Last place across the line. It is the Compass presents the Miss Varian pit stop. But I got to tell you, the guys down there, the Stars and Stripes, have got to be absolutely thrilled. I'll tell you something else. My associate, Lucille Woods, put on her red, white, and blue earrings for the first time in 10 years. She put those earrings on this morning, Stars and Stripes. I said, does that mean the American Dream is going to win today? She said, yep. She was right.
Good for her.
American Dream wins the Texaco Cup 1994. The little boat that could did.
An incredible show today, and also a number of stories that who possibly could have guessed that the Smokin' Joes would fall back as it did, that the Budweiser would have the kind of day that it did.
You know, I thought for a moment there that she had to be in the Rooster Tail right in there for second and third, and I looked back and it was the X side, not the Joes. I just thought in my mind, no way they can be that far back, not a chance.
We don't see that happen. Dave Villwock taking a parade lap coming down. The fans on the beach are standing up applauding. It's a wonderful day. Fred Leland and his crew deserve a big round of applause.
Yeah, it's a shame with all that's happened here as far as the Budweiser team's concerned, but this is a wonderful day for the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing.
Yes,
and I think that the sport really deserves and needs something like this, and I know the Budweiser guys will be looking over their shoulder.
There we see Pam Villwock. She gets a kiss from Danny Walters, the guy who came over from the circus team and helped put this victory together.
And Dave's taking it around the track one more time.
Why not? Why not?
Pam Villwock, one of the wives we talked to in our story a little bit earlier, she knows the dangers of this sport, and she knows that she has to live with it as long as her husband decides that's what he wants to do. She says, I get excited on race day myself. She knows the dangers. Today, Dave Villwock was in no danger. He ran away from the field today here on the Ted Jones course on Lake Washington.
Dave is sitting there in that cockpit knowing full well that he just took the champagne bottle on a beer budget.
Tom Glasgow's down in the pits right now, and he is with Dave Villwock's wife.
It's very happy pit area, Steve, as you might imagine. Pam Villwock, what's going through your mind? This team is ecstatic.
I am so proud of everybody here. We have great owners, Fred Leland, great sponsors, Sunset Chevrolet, Performance Mortgage, and I'm just really, really happy.
You know, I'll bet you weren't even nervous going into this heat, were you?
Well, I'm a real racer. I always get nervous, but I love to win. It's the best there is.
Well, enjoy the celebration. I'm sure it'll last a while. Steve, we'll talk to the winner and some other folks. We're going to try to get Fred Leland down here as well. To say the least, he was due for a victory.
Oh, I expect you're very right about that, Ron. And yeah, it will be crazy time. You know, normally we've been so used to over the years, quite frankly, stopping in the Bud pit, and before that, of course, the Miller American and the Circus pit, and all the winners here tied a couple of seasons ago. But these teams that have been used to winning, they kind of get used to talking to us. Well, you get down there on one of those finger piers with a team like the American Spirit team that comes in and wins its big race today. Can you imagine the pandemonium down there? You're going to have to fight tooth and nail to get to Dave Villwock, but I'm sure that he'll want to talk to us in a couple of minutes. There's Villwock, canopy up, getting ready to give the high sign to all the folks on the finger pier, and a great job of driving by him. The boat bounced John Walters, but it never gave up. It stayed in that water the whole day.
Yeah, it did. Dave's a plenty good driver that way, and he's got a lot of experience in the 5-liter and 6-liter class where you really have to fly the thing. And Dave had a win a few years ago back in San Diego, which a lot of people say he kind of backed into, but nobody can say that today. He just went out there and beat the boys. I think Tom's in the pits with him right now.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We do have Fred Leland with us. Fred, if I can grab you, Fred. Can I turn you around real quick? What a great moment for you. It has been a long wait. Can you express your feelings right now?
Well, I'm pretty happy over winning.
That's it? Just pretty happy?
Well, yeah, pretty happy.
You're not going to take a dip in the lake after this one, huh?
No. I can walk on water, but I hate to do it in public.
I appreciate those words. We're going to talk to your winning driver here momentarily. What were your thoughts? When did you feel like this race was won as you watched it develop?
When he first got out front.
All right, we'll enjoy the celebration. We're going to hook up with David. If we can get a shot, there is some damage to the back of the boat, which apparently occurred in this championship heat, and we'll ask David if he has any idea when that occurred as he gets his helmet off, and he's going to celebrate his second career victory as an unlimited driver, the first for this team, and of course the first, as we mentioned, for Fred Leland. Dave Villwock, a perfect day on Lake Washington. Here he comes. David, step on up. Congratulations. We'll let you get to your team momentarily. 4 heats, 4 wins, your second career win. obviously the highlight of your racing career.
Oh, it sure is. You know, and then we had to get Sunset Chevrolet to come back to do it. You know, they helped us get here, and Performance Mortgage, we couldn't have done it without them. They got us here. Fred Leland's invested his whole life, and Jackie, you know, to get this boat and team put together. A lot of volunteers throughout the area here that work day in and day out to get this boat here and to make it as good as it is. And I'm just so proud for everybody, you know, concerned. That, you know, Dan Walters, Ken Ford, Danny, who was a member of the 1990 championship team, came in here and has helped us so much, you know, and, you know, I'm at a loss for words. It's truly a great day here at home. We win at home again. It's been a long time. It's been since 1990 we won at home, and we're back.
You've been bitten by the bug of mechanical problems all season long. This is the first final you finished this year. Are you at all superstitious? Did that come into your mind before you went out for this championship heat?
No, because every time we run, have a problem, Fred Leland comes back and he makes it better than it was before. Every little engineering problem, we have a little breakage, he goes, no problem. He disappears into the machine shop and he comes back with a bigger, better part than we had before. And today he built something that ran all day long and was very consistent and did everything I asked it to do. I couldn't be happier for Fred. It's his first win. And to do it here at Seattle, it's storybook.
I know you have great respect for the Bud crew and what they have done. They have dominated this circus. But really, in all reality, what you did today, or if someone else would have done it, this is good for the sport to have other boats in the winner's circle.
Yeah, particularly for us. We have no money, so anybody that's out there that has a couple of nickels to spend, we need it here at Leland Racing.
I think you got a few more nickels today, though, with this win, didn't you?
Well, thanks. We got a couple, but we need a full-blown program to run the whole year, and then we'll really be able to go up against these guys, you know, day in and day out. You know, across the Eastern Circuit, a lot of times we could have made the final, but we had to pull because we only had so much equipment, so many fields to work with. So, you know, it's our hope that things will get better. They're already better, and we know we can, you know, have a bright future if we can keep this group together.
Congratulations on a great day. I'll let you get to that group. You guys, I know, have some words to exchange. Take care.
Thanks.
Dave Villwalk, your winner, folks. A perfect day of racing for the American Dream Team. They got it done in fine fashion.
They did, Tom, indeed. Let's go to Ron Callan now, also in the pits. Ronnie?
All right, Mark Evans in the Miss Exide may have finished in second place, but it feels like victory lane. You almost pulled it off in the final turn. Tell us what you tried to do.
Well, it was darn close. I tried to dive to the inside lane. I just kept on his outside, so he'd push me, and I was waiting. I dove inside early on, and he caught that right away. So I went back out, just bided my time, and just waited towards the last. And sure enough, he didn't swing out, and I dove in there, and I just pedaled for all I was worth. If I thought I had a nitrous button on the steering wheel. I was looking for something, but oh, my crew did a great job. Jay LaCrone, crew chief, just been putting up with me all year long, busting up his equipment, and the team pulled it together, putting that gearbox in, and coming out good like we did. Congratulations to Dave Villwalk, Freddie Leland, and their crew, but we had a fun day.
Well, you talk about the last lap, but the start as well. Everybody was looking for Smokin' Joe's, but they were nowhere to be seen. Now, what happened there?
They got the Smokin' Exide out front is what happened. I don't know. I just pushed the pedal down and went for it. I pushed down on my flaps a little bit, and Jay gave me the good prop, tuned the engine up just a little bit more, and I just let her go. And I've been practicing on my starts, concentrating real hard on them all year, and especially for this race, and it ended up working out very well. The boat handles great in the rough, and I'm just really happy for my crew and everybody.
All right, your greatest day in Lake Washington. Congratulations.
It is.
All right.
All right.
Way to go, Mark. Let's go now over to the other side of the pits, and Tony Ventrella.
All right, thanks, Ron. Nate Brown standing by. Here's Derek Brown. I'm trying to figure out who was riding the boat in this third. Was it Derek?
Yeah, he did a good job, didn't he?
Yeah. For a guy that small. Usually, good job, Derek. You having fun?
Yeah.
Good. That means yes. All right. Pretty good ride for you all day long, but your impression of this final heat, not what you wanted? I thought you were going to overtake number 2 there a couple times.
Boy, Tony, it's on. No, we tried real hard to do that, you know, and we just couldn't overcome with the gear combination we had, and this just did as good as we could do with the inside lane. And my hat's off to Dave Villwalk and the American Dream Team, if you will, and the Exide crew. Those guys needed a good second place finish too, and I'm happy with a third place, really we are. But you know, earlier you said you'd give me your hat.
You got it. Your hat's off. You're not kidding. There you go.
But you know, Bill.
Now wait a second. No. You know, he would look better in the Tide. Give me the Seahawk. On second thought, Derek, you're right.
This motorsport, folks.
It really is.
It really is.
We're having some fun. So you're set for the win. You got a couple more races now. You got to be feeling pretty good about your chances the rest of the year.
Yeah. Bill promised me that he's going to buy me a propeller and some gears. So we're going to go compete with the other guys down in San Diego and Hawaii, and I want to go out with a bang. This is my last year driving here with this team, and hopefully George will be back next year. And I'm looking forward to going out with flying colors.
All right, excellent. Thanks, you guys, all of you. Derek, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Bill,
it's been a great race. We love it here.
And thanks to Derek Loso. He's done a really good job behind the scenes here. You guys don't even know who that is, do you? He's got to get a haircut, though.
A lot of behind-the-scenes action going on. Listen, we'll see you guys in a few minutes, all right? Back upstairs.
All right, Tony. Tony Ventrella has a way with folks down there in the pits, doesn't he? Here you go, friends. The final results of the final heat, the Texaco Cup for 1994. Find your Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet winning it. Dave Villwalk, the driver. They win the championship cup. Miss Exide is second. A great ride there by Mark Evans. A bouncy ride. Taco Time Tide is third. The Miss T Plus is fourth. The Miss Budweiser comes up and takes fifth from Smokin' Joe's. We'll find out from both those camps what happened late in the race. And the KMPS Burien Pit Stop is seventh. Come back after these commercial messages with the trophy presentation and more from the Texaco Cup 1994. There's your champion.
The Texaco Cup final heat was brought to you by Texaco. It's a true breakthrough in Texaco technology. Clean System 3 gasoline, an advanced system of engine cleaning that works over time for higher performance, lower emissions, and improved mileage. Now let's go to the presentation stage for the Fast Lap Award for this Texaco Cup.
President-elect of Seafair, and I'm pleased to present to you today Karen Minahan with the Pepsi-Cola Company to present the Fastest Lap Award of the 1994 Texaco Cup. Karen.
On behalf of the Pepsi-Cola Company, we are proud to present the Fastest Lap Award to driver Chip Hanauer of the Miss Budweiser. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
You have to excuse my voice. I don't have much anymore. We really appreciate this. We appreciate your involvement, and we wish a speedy recovery to Ken Dryden, who was hurt this morning. He's hurt pretty serious, and I think he could use your thoughts. And congratulations to Dave Villwalk, the winner of the Texaco Cup. We're real happy for him. And thank all of you.
It's Chip Hanauer. Let's go down to Tony Ventrella now, who is with Bernie Little.
All right, Steve, it's been a busy day. It's been an up and down day emotionally for Bernie. He's in a conversation there, and we're interrupting. Oh, my. Just about everything one could expect happened to you guys today.
Well, not really. I won the race when I beat Smokin' Joe's there in the final. That's like winning, because he's really a tough competitor. But he had a tough break, and felt bad for Mark, and because I thought he'd be right up in front with Wilwad. And American Dream deserved to win. They ran good all week, and Dave Wilwat's a pro, and he looked really good in the boat. And so, anyhow, that's three boats has won. So now maybe we'll get back in for San Diego.
One quick note, you got a little bit of time. You get the 89 boat back in the water, work with the 87, go with the new one. What are you going to do now?
No, we've certainly in enough time between now and San Diego to rebuild that boat. So anyhow, we'll just have to do with what we got, and we'll make the 89 boat make it a winner. It'll get the, or the 87 boat. It'll get the job done.
Okay. All right, Bernie, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Let's move Chip in. Holy mackerel. I'll tell you, you don't mind working hard if you get the results you want, but a little disappointing, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's still good, working hard. The team stuck together, and we'll stick together, and there'll be better days.
Was there a degree of satisfaction in that final heat? You were able to pass Smokin' Joe's in a couple of last laps there?
Yeah, they meant a lot to us, and there's a lot of satisfaction just coming back from what we had to come back from. You know, there was a point earlier in the week where I wasn't sure I was going to be alive. So, you know, to be able to come back and race, not the best result, but we were here, and I'm proud of my team.
That's what they call perspective, Chip. You're right. I guess when you're thinking about it, is it drowning or winning? Which is most important?
Happy to be here. I'll be in my bed tonight and a hot shower. So, you know, there was a time 2 days ago that sounded pretty good.
All right, that's true. Thanks, Chip, for sticking with us so many times today. Busy day for Chip. As he said, not exactly what he was looking for, but hey, let's put it in perspective. He's healthy. Back to you guys.
All right, Tony, thanks. And even though he didn't win, he's always a champion, Chip Hanauer. And now the champion for the Texaco Cup. Let's go back down to the presentation stage.
What a day, what a race. I'm Claude Harris, president of Seafair, and it's my pleasure to present Bob Morris of Texaco, who will be presenting the 1994 Texaco Cup Award. Bob. Here you go. All right, all right.
Thank you very much. I'm Bob Morris of Texaco, and it's my great pleasure on behalf of Texaco to be here at this year's 1994 Texaco Cup at Seafair. And it's a real pleasure now to introduce the winning team, the winning driver, Dave Villwalk. There you are, Dave. Congratulations. Of the American Dream Team.
Wow, what a day, huh? I don't think we won one this big since we won with the school bus in '89, but wow, it's boy, just 1,000 people to thank. Fred Leland here, who works his heart out and builds everything in the boat. Jackie, who puts up with us, all the volunteers that work countless hours to get this boat put together. Chip Hanauer for some driving tips over the years. Dan Walters, Ken Ford, the guys who work day in and day out, hours and hours, and literally 24 hours a day for the last several days to hang a new sponson on the boat and all the rest of the pieces and parts that I destroyed in Pasco, as they have done all year long. They fixed pretty much everything I broke. Got us back the next week with a better race boat that was a real sweetheart today. They made me look good. The thing drove so well and accelerated so well that, you know, it was made my job very, very easy. But, you know, we couldn't be here without Sunset Chevrolet, Performance Mortgage, those people that, you know, we don't have the sort of corporate sponsorship some of the other people do, but they got us here and they got us to the race, and we can do the rest once they do that. So, thanks, everybody.
Well, I guess now that I'm up here, I don't get up here often, so I probably won't stay too long. I'll bring up all the guys that helped do this, all the Dream people and the Rock people, because as a team, we all work on either boat, and they've been just tremendous. So why don't you guys all come up? I don't know if they'll fit on this stage. You can see why we won. We got more people. Oh, he's back there. I guess what I'll do is thank all you people for coming. Without all you people and the people that put on the race, we couldn't race and have all the fun.
Look, we almost got as many people as Bernie does at every race there at Seattle.
So I want to thank Performance Mortgage, Sunset Chevrolet, all our other sponsors. Hopefully we'll have more. We're running out of decal space, but we're going to get a bigger boat. At this point, I just say thank you and turn it over to any of my crew that wants to talk to you.
And we'll take it back up here. Fred Leland, the owner and a much-loved man in the sport of hydroplane racing, as you can so plainly see. And you know, you can always tell how well-respected team owners and these guys are when you look around at the audience and you see all the other crews and drivers and owners standing by as well to congratulate the guys up at the stand for winning the Texaco Cup today. Meantime, there are those who didn't win. There are those whose days just did not turn out the way they expected, and Jimmy Lucero from the Smokin' Joe's camp is one of them. Ron Callan is with him. Tom Glasgow, I'm sorry.
No problem, Steve. We're going to talk with Mr. Lucero, the winningest crew chief in the history of the sport, but not today, and for a very good reason. He'll explain what was wrong mechanically with the Smokin' Joe's in that championship final, and Mark Tate learned very early that he had a problem. Jim, explain it to the folks.
Well, it seems like every year here in Seattle we do great in the preliminaries, and then I'm standing here after the race explaining why we didn't win. It was another one of those years. We felt we had a good start. Mark got to the first turn, and the traffic's pretty heavy there. You had to back out of the throttle a little bit. He got back into the throttle on the engine, and the engine compressor stalled. And then it started doing it every single turn, and he just couldn't run with anybody. But This engine is one we've run in the finals for, I think, 4 straight races, and it's been a great motor. It hasn't had one compressor stall the whole time we've run it, and we ran it 3 times here in testing. We thought, we're going to put this baby off to the side and make this our final heat motor, but it wasn't to be today.
That aspect of racing that brings you to that level of frustration, there's no explanation, no reason why it happened. It just simply happened.
Yeah, there's always a reason, and we're going to have to go back to the shop and find out why. But it's really a disappointment to us, to the Smokin' Joe team and Jim Johnson and all the folks here from RJR, because we thought we were in really good shape going into the final. We had a good motor there, but unfortunately didn't play here in the final.
Hey, Jim, as always, we appreciate your cooperation throughout the race day, and you're coming out after a tough final heat. Maybe next year we'll talk to you about a win.
We'll be back with the Smokin' Joe. We'll run it as hard as we can.
All right, Jim Lucero, we appreciate it very
Thanks,
much.
Tom.
That's the story, Steve, from the Smokin' Joe's camp. Mechanical problems, getting them in trouble in that championship final.
Tom, thanks a lot. And we talked about it before the race, gentlemen. When would the bad luck jump up and bite somebody else? And it did, in fact. It bit the Smokin' Joe's team. Didn't bother, though, the Performance Mortgage Sunset Chevrolet team. Fred Leland and company, Dave Villwalk at the controls. A terrific job by that entire team. Congratulations to them. Well, that's it. There's the results from the final heat. Your winner again, Sunset Chevrolet. Exide was second. Taco Time Tide was third. Miss T Plus fourth. The Bud fifth. Smokin' Joe sixth. And the Burien Pit Stop KMPS was seventh. Come back with some final words and thoughts from around our crew covering the Texaco Cup 1994 in just a couple minutes.